It is time to pull out the chessboard and checkmate our opponents with the no other than Chessmon Deck. Digimon fans, welcome back, and today we'll be showcasing the brand new Chessmon Deck. This is a very unique and interesting archetype that was introduced in BT13, and all the Digimon designs are based off the game chess. By gathering and playing your chess pieces one at a time, you can keep your board afloat with their on-deletion effects because they keep bringing back each other out. I'll be showing you guys all the cool combos and how to play this deck as well. But first, let's get started with the build that we have for today. Alright, like always, let's begin with Digi-Egg cards. 4 copies of Pokemon from BT6. Always just one of the standard most best black egg to be playing for the Digi-Egg deck, just because it has the on-deletion revealing the top card of your deck. Add it to your hand if it's a black Digimon card, otherwise put it back to the bottom. And yeah, the 4 eggs is really all you need for this particular deck. Just before we continue with the video, I want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for supporting the channel, whether you're part of the Avault Club membership, a subscriber, or even just crossing by this video. I really appreciate the fact that you're taking the time to watch this. There are tons of Digimon content and videos on this channel, and if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe and turn on that notification bell for even more. Also give this video a like while you're at it, as it really helps. But with that out of the way, let's get back into the deck profile. Now let's get into our rookies. First, I guess the main rookie of the deck that we're always going to be playing and seeing quite often enough is this PawnChessmon right here. PawnChessmon has a on-deletion effect. If it's your turn, you get to play a level 3 or lower Digimon card with Chessmon and its name from your hand without paying its memory cost. And if you have 8 or more Digimon cards with Chessmon and their name in your trash, you get to add 2 maximum levels to this card's effect that you can play. So potentially you can play a level 4 or level 5 Chessmon and its name, which is going to be more ideal and very, very nice when it comes to the late game stages because you can fulfill that condition easily. And then last but not least, with its inheritable, just simply gives your Digimon reboot with no other requirements whatsoever, and it just definitely comes in real handy. It's going to be really important for our combos later on, which we'll talk about more. Then moving on next, we have PawnChessmon once again. Well, this time it's a different PawnChessmon. So just so you guys know, there's 2 types of PawnChessmons that were released in BT13. This is the second one, which has a completely different effect, and it has blocker. It also has a on-deletion effect, but this time, if it's your opponent's turn instead, you get to play 1 level 3 or lower Digimon card with Chessmon in its name from your hand without paying the memory cost. And once again, just like the other one, if you have 8 or more, you get to add extra 2 maximum levels that you can increase via this effect. Now, the main key thing is that you're going to notice a lot of similarities when it comes to these effects with all the Chessmon related stuff. The ones that actually give a inheritable with reboot are going to give you your on-deletion effects during your turn. For those that have blocker, on the other hand, have the on-deletion effects during your opponent's turn instead. Therefore, this PawnChessmon particularly does not have any inheritables. Therefore, that's why it is the opponent's turn, and that's why it has the blocker. So having 2 versatility of different types of PawnChessmons is what you're trying to go for. And yeah, again, you're going to see that a lot throughout the entire course of the deck when it comes to all the other cards. Anyways, then we got 4 copies of Tamer right here. It has a simple inheritable of all turns, while this Digimon has 2 or more colors, gains extra 1000 DP. Everything that you play pretty much moving upwards are going to be multicolored so that you're going to be fulfilling this condition very easily, and most of it, like I said, they're going to be black and yellow for this particular deck. So yeah, and there's another really good reason why we play Tamer on this deck, which we'll talk about later on too. Let's move on to our level 4s. First and foremost, we got Chessmon. This one can Digivolve for 3 on top of black or yellow, that's level 3. However, we're going to be focusing a lot on the black box text Digivolution instead, because it can Digivolve for 2 with Chessmon in its name. This one is the on-deletion. If it's your turn, you play a level 4 lower Digimon card with Chessmon and its name from your hand for free, and it gives you the reboot. Again, you're going to see a lot of that when it comes to how I was explaining earlier with the PawnChessmon first, which is this one's your turn side of things. And then for the other Chessmon that you're going to be seeing, is going to be the opponent's side turn of the things. Again, Digivolving for 2, this one has the blocker, and then on deletion, if it's your opponent's turn, you play a level 4 or lower Chessmon from your hand, and no inheritable, just like that. Then to round off for all of our level 4s, we got 3 copies of Mercurymon right here. With Mercurymon, we definitely want to have it as our hybrid for game, definitely our new hybrid for game strategy card that you mainly want to go to for black particularly. And we do play quite a handful of Tamers, which is why getting into this guy in the later games to help us make extra swings and it's just really good to finish games. And also it does give you blocker when it's digivolving or on play one of your Digimon until the end of the turn. So that's definitely a very nice effect to have for sure. That's it for our level 4s. Now let's talk about our level 5s. 4 copies of Mamemon right here. It has the on-play when digivolving effect, revealing the top 5 cards of your deck, letting you play a Tamer card with 4 costs or less among them without paying a memory cost. Then you get to place the rest back to the top or bottom of your deck in any order, so you can plan ahead. If you don't like the cards that you're going to be seeing upcoming, then you can cycle them to the bottom. So pretty good versatility when it comes to that particular searching effects. And yeah, like I mentioned earlier, we play a handful of Tamers, which is why having this guy at 4 copies is definitely more ideal, and it helps us, again, turbo out Tamers, and racking up multiple Tamers is going to give the best value in our setup for our bigger combos. And then with its inheritable, your turn must return when you play another Digimon by an effect, one of your Digimon gains blocker until the end of your turn, and definitely synergizes with a lot of our Chessmon stuff that has the on deletion our turn, letting us play something. So giving us our top end blocker is going to be very nice every now and then for some of the guys that we're going to be playing. Then continuing with our other Chessmon stuff, we got 2 copies of Bishop Chessmon right here, digivolving for 3 costs with its black box text on top of the level 4 Chessmon and its name, has the on deletion if it's your turn again, so then you get to play a level 5 or lower Digimon with Chessmon and its name from your hand without paying the memory cost, and then giving that reboot. So this is like the offensive side of things, which you usually want to be, sometimes building your stack on top of, but using it to swing as well. And then for the defensive side of things, we got Rook Chessmon right here, also digivolving for 3 on top of level 4 Chessmon and its name. This one has that blocker on deletion. If it's your opponent's turn, you get to play the level 5 Chessmon in its name from there. That's it for all of our level 5s. Now let's talk about our level 6s. First and foremost, 2 copies of QueenChessmon here. It does cost 4 to digivolve on top of level 5, but we do utilize, again, the black box text to digivolve for 3 on top of any Chessmon's name that's level 5. She has blocker. It has an all turns effect when one of your Digimon with Chessmon its name is deleted, unsuspend this Digimon, so that you can, either block 2 times with her particularly, or even attack 2 times in a turn with it, if you plan your swings and sequence correctly. Definitely a really good card that you want to be seeing, and mainly as your main boss Digimon of the deck. We have 1 copy of KingChessmon right here. It does digivolve for 3 again on top of our level 5 Chessmons and its name. Now, when you would play this card from your hand, instead, if you have 8 or more Digimon cards with Chessmon and its name in your trash, you get to reduce the cost by 8, making it a 5 cost hard play instead. And then with its on play or when digivolving effect, by deleting one of your other Digimon, you get to play a Digimon card with Chessmon and its name other than KingChessmon from your hand without paying the memory cost. So this is a really nice clutch card. Sometimes you guys might be thinking right now, maybe you should be playing more. But just so you guys know, this card does require quite a bit of setup. It is nice to play QueenChessmon particularly via this effect. However, your QueenChessmon is not going to have any inheritables, and you can only utilize its own all turns effect, which is not as great value as you would really think of it, and is not very practical in in-game situations. Therefore, I think a 1 of tech is really good enough. And again, fulfilling the 8 requirements, meaning that this card in the early stages of the game isn't as good, even though you can digivolve it. So yeah, that's my own personal opinion. Therefore, I only play 1 copy. But again, it's up to your own personal preference. And the main reason why I have a lower count with Chessmon level 6s is because I actually like to be playing 2 copies of Shadow Seraphimon right here. Even though it does cost 4 to digivolve, you can't utilize this black box text to digivolve. It does have a really good control aspect for Chessmon, particularly to help us slow down a game, to do control, and then once we go super wide, we can go for the extra strings. And it's just a very strong card overall because of the opponent's turn. When the security card is removed from your stack, you de-digital 1, and then with its on deletion, you recover 1 as well, and minus DP to your opponent's Digimon by 4,000 for every security card you have in your security as well. So yeah, just a really good alternative other than just the Chessmon line, which I find it very nice and fitting, just also because it is both black and yellow, which I guess has somewhat a bit of a synergy in this particular deck. That's it for level 6s. Then to round off for our level 7s and Digimons, 2 copy of Shine Greymon Rune Mode right here. Just again, really good card. Even for 5 digivolve costs, we can digivolve on top of all of our level 6s because they all at least have half yellow in its color. So with the 1 digivolving effect on deletion, we also get to minus 5,000 DP, control the board even further with DP reduction effects, and then with its end of attack, we can delete something, recover 1, hatch an egg, and continue our momentum. Just a very strong and powerful level 7 card that's newly introduced into the game, and yeah, definitely very suitable for this entire deck overall. That's it for all of our Digimon. Let's talk about our Tamers. We definitely have to be playing 4 copies of Miki and Megumi right here. Now, for the 4 cost, it has an on-play effect, letting you play 1 Digimon card with PawnChessmon and its name from your hand without paying the memory cost. And then all turns with its effect when a Digimon that is played with 2 color that is black and yellow. By suspending this Tamer, you get to draw 1 card and gain a memory. Effectively, this is going to be a 3-cost tamer that gives you a PawnChessmon immediately, which is absolutely fantastic. And by racking up multiple of these tamers, you can stack these effects over and over again. Now keep in mind that their secondary effect is also all turns to gain a memory and draw one. Therefore, you can actually combo and synergize with some of your on deletion effects during your opponent's turn, and you can disrupt their turn simply that way with these kind of effects, which I'll show you guys and talk about more in the combo segment later on. But yeah, these are the really, really crucial tamers that you want to be seeing as often as you can, and basically, yeah, as many of them as possible. Then we have 2 copies of Izzy right here, also a 4-cost tamer, but effectively potentially a 3-cost, just depending on what we reveal on the top of our deck. It is the memory tamer, and then we get to rearrange with its on play effect, looking at the top 3 cards, gain a memory if everything's black as well, and rearrange as well, like I mentioned. Yeah, just a really good standard black tamer to always have. Then to round off all of our tamers, we play 2 copies of Maki right here. This is the exact reason why we play Tapermon inside our deck, just so because we can utilize this on play to reveal the top 3 cards, adding ourselves 1 Tapermon and a 2-color black card among them to our hand. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Digimon, it can also be a Tamer as well. It has a secondary effect as well. Your turn, when one of your Digimon would Digivolve into a 2-color black Digimon card, you get to suspend this Tamer to reduce the Digivolution cost by 1. Pretty much most of our Chessmon line, as you guys can see, are dual color black Digimons, so then we can, reduce the cost further and turbo even faster, build our stack quicker, and climb through that way. And therefore, at least 2 of is really what I recommend. That's it for all our tamers. Let's talk about our options here now. We'll actually play 2 copies of Heaven's Judgment. For 7 costs, while you have a green Digimon or Tamer in play, you get to use this card without meeting color requirements, but we don't play any of that, so we can't really fulfill that, but we do fulfill the yellow colors quite effectively and quite efficiently anyways, thanks to our Tamers, thanks to our Chessmon line. So it's very easy to actually activate this, and it's just a super good suitable card for this particular deck, just because, you're minus 6,000 DP for one thing, and then for every color you have, you get to minus another 6,000, simply because you have a black and yellow as well, so you can always effectively be minusing like 18k to something in total, or spread out to 6k, however you want to do it. It's just really good as a defensive option for the deck, which is very, very nice. Then last but not least, the standard stuff. 2 black memory boosts as our standard staple right here, just to finish it off, for extra searching, gaining memory, doing all that kind of, combo stuff. Just a really generically good card for sure. That's it for our 50 card main deck. Let's talk about all the other Digimon cards and other cards that you guys can be splashing into this deck to spice that up even more. Other than just Tapermon, if you guys don't want to play that many Tapermons like I do, Junkmon is actually a really good card to include, just because it has the on deletion, gain a memory inheritable. It's going to work out very nicely with all our Chessmon stuff, essentially, because they all have on deletion effects throughout the level 4s and 5s, giving you that value to, sort of continue to pressure against your opponents when you're going for those combo plays. We also have Gotsumon right here, which is a decent blocker to have. It has the on deletion searching capability if it's your opponent's turn as well, specifically, revealing top 3 cards of your deck, adding 1 black card among them to your hand, which is definitely a really nice one to have for sure. So definitely a considerable rookie too. And then of course the standard stuff, Chikurimon and Chumon staples when it comes to Floodgate rookies, depending on the meta, depending on situations. With BT13, Roaring Knights, running around a lot, Chikurimon might be more, relevant currently. So yeah, just a generic discussion right there, just to show you guys. Then we got some really cool stuff right here. Instead of like Shadow Seraphimon and, rejuggling your top end combo type of stuff with your level 6s, you can actually be playing Digimon. It can Digivolve for 3 on top of black level 5, and most of it is going to fulfill its requirements. When Digivolving, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You get to play 1 Tamer among them without paying the memory cost, and place the rest back to the bottom in any order. It has a when attacking effect. Once return, for each green or black Tamer you have in play, reveal the top card of your deck, and you get to play any number of green or black Digimon cards whose total play cost is up to 10 or less among them without paying the memory cost, and you place it back to the rest of the bottom in any order. Being able to play those Chessmon pieces is actually also a really, really good approach, a really good strategy alongside with Digimon, so you can go super wide with it, other than just playing it itself with like just QueenChessmon and KingChessmon as well. Definitely a really nice addition, and I definitely highly recommend you guys trying this guy out as well if you are into the Chessmon deck, which is definitely a very good one to have. Then we got a very interesting Tamer right here, a purple Tamer that is Keenan Crier. Now for 3 costs on play, your opponent may trash 1 Tamer card or option card in their hand, and if they don't, you get to gain a memory and draw 1. And then afterwards, during the opponent's turn with a second effect, is when an effect plays a Digimon. By suspending this Tamer, you get to gain a memory. So we mentioned earlier how we have our dual Tamer right there with Miki and Megumi, they basically help us sort of disrupt our opponent's turn by doing so. And if we want to disrupt even further, then Keenan's a really, really good addition to also do the same. And it's pretty surprising because even though Keenan doesn't support Chessmon directly, but all the effects are very generic enough to be very nicely suited for the deck to help you out, give you a little bit of value and advantages in the early stages even when you play it. So yeah, pretty good deck card for this deck as well. For another option, you guys can actually be playing Parabolic Junk, which is Junkmon's signature move with the option right here. For 0 cost, one of your main Digimon gets on deletion, gain 2 memory until the enemy opponent's next turn. Again, with the whole on deletion, gaining memory combo and synergy right here. Again, we can actually just try to combo with it, gain memory during your opponent's turn, pressure them, and by doing so, we can actually just again disrupt their turn. That's the whole idea with this card, essentially anyways. Then last but not least, instead of Heaven's Judgment, of course, I will always suggest the standard black staple removal cards right here. We've got Ultimate Flare, Dimension. Depending on what you personally prefer, both these cards are just really good at taking out stuff, removing stuff, de-digivolving stuff as well, and then deleting things after at the same time. So yeah, again, just generic suggestions right there. All right, that's it for all the cards I want to talk about and show you guys. Now let's get into the combo segment of the deck, and let's just talk about what cards you want to be seeing in the beginning of your mulligan hand and whatnot. Very simple. You ideally just want to be seeing level 3s to your 4s and then to your 5s, because you are kind of building your Digivolution stack at the end of the day and try to get into your boss Digimon to control the board as early as possible. And then at the same time, you do want to be seeing your PawnChessmons and your Chessmon pieces so that you can hard play those, during the mid stages and in between the times of the game. So of course, you have your Digi-Egg card right here. I'll show you guys. Ideally, you do want to just Digivolve into your Tapermon if you can. Otherwise, you want to keep your PawnChessmons in your hand just because you can hard play them and then have them sit there and utilize them to pressure with it on deletion effects. But they just go really hand to hand really greatly with Pagumon as well. But the reason why is also they do cost 1 to Digivolve, which is pretty interesting right here. It may not be as bad as you think, but even as a first turn play, Digivolving into one of the either PawnChessmons and you just pass your opponent to 1 memory is actually kind of effective play, so that, it's a pretty good starting play, funny enough. But otherwise, as you continue to find your pieces and grow your stacks, of course, eventually you want to be Digivolving or seeing your Knight Chessmons. And really, really importantly is eventually at some point, before you get into your level 5s, you want to be finding your Miki and Megumis as much as possible. By having them and having multiple copies is definitely something you're trying to look for. So this is what the line of play would sort of really look like. As you're Digivolving into Tapermon right here, going into your Knight Chessmons means that you're going to have to pay 3 memory instead of the 2 memory, which, you kind of have to go hand in hand and pay it back. But then Tapermon does give enough of a pretty good, decent value. If not, sometimes even hard play any of your PawnChessmons. The one with blocker, you always want to have it sit there. You want to have a defensive strat. This deck is not super aggressive. It's not hyper aggressive. So it's a little bit more control and definitely wants to, stall out the game a little bit so that you can go wide enough and go for big swings. But at the same time, you want to be chipping down your opponent's security too. And this is the ones that you want to be playing to use to chip down your opponent's security. The ones that has the on deletion, if it's your turn, you get to play something back. And they have really good floating capabilities, so you can pressure your opponents quite quickly that way too. So definitely juggle between your round with the various Chessmon effects based on your turn and based on your opponent's turn. Anyways, let's just talk about Digivolving. Eventually just Digivolve into a Knight Chessmon, and then you would ideally then push this up and then Digivolve into a Mamemon, so then you can cycle through and then find your Miki and Megumis and play them for free that way, just like that. Sometimes it's not too bad to hard play them, even by paying the memory, just because then you can hard play a PawnChessmon as well with their on play effects and immediately suspend them to gain the memory and draw the card and cycle pieces that way. You don't have a whole lot of searching, and you do require to find a lot of your chess pieces because you need to continue to keep them afloat. If you run out of them from your hand that you can't play anymore, that's not the situation you want to go into, so therefore you want to draw as much as you can, and therefore Pagumon is also really just fantastic egg for you in general. Now, moving into our level 6s, this is when you can go into your QueenChessmon right here, and you just want to control the board just like that. It might be a little bit redundant, just because with Mamemon you give it blocker, QueenChessmon itself already is a blocker, Therefore, which is why having Shadow Seraphimon is kind of neat and decent as well. And the best thing is with the Knight Chessmons or any of the PawnChessmons, you want to focus building the stack with it, particularly with the reboot. Now, when you're building the stack as well, keep in mind, it may not be ideal to digivolve into the PawnChessmon and to digivolve into the Knight Chessmon that gives you the same reboot synergy again, because you don't need to repeat the same inheritable, right? So having at least one reboot is already good enough for your entire stack, so then you can always like make a swing and then you can reach stand when it's your opponent's turn because you reboot it and you have a blocker sitting right there. Really common combo with QueenChessmon is very easy. You swing with QueenChessmon, take out a security, take out a Digimon, and you swing with one of your PawnChessmons. Ideally, it's going to be the one that's on deletion. Your turn, if it gets deleted, immediately get to unsuspend a QueenChessmon right here and make a swing. That's basically a triple attack combo right there in just one single turn, which is definitely value. The Tapermon all turns inheritable does come in handy very nicely every now and then because of its extra 1000 DP, and it does come up, makes QueenChessmon a much stronger Digimon as well as Shadow Seraphimon. And the same concept applies. They both really is just there having different forms of control for you to be a bit more versatile against specific matchups and whatnot. With Shadow Seraphi, you swing and then suspend. And if you ever had a PawnChessmon that was deleted, then you get to play another PawnChessmon. Let's just say you play the exact same one, and then your Shadow Seraphimon will have that blocker capability until the end of the opponent's turn, and you pass them and they'll reboot right there. And then in times when you really need to, that's when you need to go for the higher control side of things, is when you would go into the Shine Greymon Ruin mode if you need to further control the board just like that. And then eventually you're just going to continue to rack up as many Chessmon pieces as you want and as you can. Of course, having your Maki is going to give you a lot of value in between when you're digivolving and climbing through your stack. Making some of the 3-cost stuff, reduce it back down to 2 or 1 and whatnot. And that's how you kind of want to go with it. Of course, with your secondary level 5s as you're building, going into your Bishop Chessmon or your Rook Chessmon is nice as well to have it in your stack. But otherwise, eventually you can actually hard play them, even for the 7 cost. As long as you have multiple Miki and Megumis, you can reduce their cost, play them for a much more effective memory, and you have strong bodies, level 5s here on the board, just like that, and continue playing and whatnot. Eventually, like I said, you're going to gather quite a few pieces in your trash. Ideally, it's going to be your 8, and this is when you can actually hard play your KingChessmon. You can digivolve it as well if you really want to, but by hard playing it for the reduced cost of 8, it becomes 5 costs, and then if you have Miki and Megumi, you can suspend them to, even further reduce the cost or sort of gain the memory back and again, draw 1 and then play something. Ideally, it would probably be your QueenChessmon, just so you can get the maximum value. But like I mentioned earlier in the deck profile, your QueenChessmon won't really have the inheritables of reboot and, as if it was compared to building the stack. But therefore, it's still kind of nice, so that at least you can swing with QueenChessmon. And if you ever had another Chessmon piece, you swing with it. If it gets deleted, you get to unsuspend the QueenChessmon, make another swing just like that. So therefore, KingChessmon is a nice clutch for the deck when it comes to those kind of occasions, for sure. And that's how you want to be playing this deck. A little bit of control, a little bit of aggro. It has a little bit of everything, which is kind of nice. And it can adapt to various play styles and different matchups quite effectively as well. That'll wrap up for the deck profile for today. If you guys enjoyed the video and found it helpful, please give it a like. If you have any suggestions, recommendations, or questions, be sure to share it with everyone in the comments down below. What other decks are you guys most excited for the BT13 meta? Once again, be sure to subscribe and turn on that notification bell to stay tuned for more BT13 content. If you guys just can't wait and want to see early deck lists and first drafts, then once again, definitely join the Avault Club. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you next video, and this is Avault signing out.